Hi, my name is Abby. Thank you so much for joining me in my first blog in a series of blogs that I like to refer to as tips, tricks, and tools for an OT in the home. Our first topic is something that I don't think is all too unfamiliar to those of you listening in at home: how to decide what to wear. The tool that I've created to help with this category is the Outfit Flipbook. The Outfit Flipbook is designed for clients who have no physical limitations that keep them from being able to engage in a variety of occupations in a variety of different settings. They do, however, have a lower level of cognition, and their inability to function at a higher level makes it difficult for them to determine things like appropriateness. Not knowing appropriateness is something that can make it difficult when trying to socialize in different contexts and settings and realizing that maybe a different outfit would be more appropriate. For instance, the client that I made this outfit flipbook for is a gentleman named James R. Kennedy, also known as Radio. Radio became a beloved member of the football team, but also was invited into a variety of activities in town on holidays, church, and special occasions that involved him to need to know the difference between what to wear to football practice and what to wear on Sunday to church. This topic was something that was very difficult for him and not an easy one to explain. Appropriateness is something that is not easy to write down or depict for someone who doesn't quite understand. Instead, bringing it to their level and making it easy to see in a way that is color coordinated, easily accessible, and made specifically for them can easily solve this problem. These flipbooks are something that can be made over a series of interventions between the practitioner and the client. They're completely unique and they're made per person. The idea behind them is to photograph your specific wardrobe laid in a natural context, so either laid out on your bed or hanging, and then attached to pieces of paper in coordination with what the appropriate setting would be. For a client like Radio, the settings that we needed to be mindful of were football practice, church and other special events in town, or just hanging out on the weekends in a casual atmosphere or going to school during the day. Those three different settings all required a different clothing option. So as a result, I have created these three categories, each denoted with a different color. Once the photos were taken of Radio's clothes, they were then attached to the corresponding color paper, and they were clipped together with these very simple metal binder rings to be able to keep them all in one safe space. The beauty of that metal binder rings is that, as we all know, our wardrobe can change. Seasons change, weight fluctuates, and as we get older, we just end up acquiring new pieces and getting rid of old ones. The ability of having these binder clips open and close so you can take away or add in new clothing options is really great for continued use with your therapist, between the therapist and the client. Let's just say, for example, Coach called up Radio and invited him to go to church one Sunday. Instead of having to rely on his mother or Coach to let him know what he would have to wear, Radio can now exhibit independence in this activity by going to his outfit flipbook, reading along the side to find out that blue was in fact the category that was appropriate to wear to church, flip through his book to find a shirt that was clean or that he liked, and then match the shirt that he found right in his flipbook to his closet. Super easy, super accessible, and really very inexpensive for a practitioner to do with their client. Now, let's just say that your client has a little bit of a lower cognition than mine did, Radio. There are other ways that you can adjust and grade this task. First of all is creating little tabs. These little tabs, again, would correspond. So whenever you buy this paper and you start to create these different categories and setting up your book, make sure to keep all your little scrap papers and extra papers for as the wardrobe changes or as you need to make adjustments like this. This little tab can easily be added to the top of the hanger, so that way if someone is still overwhelmed by looking at this closet, it can at least narrow down for them where to go next. You can choose to staple it, tape it, glue it, really whatever works for you. But the idea is that you have now tagged that piece of clothing to make it that much easier for them to be able to coordinate. The only thing to watch with that is making sure that part of your treatment may be the IADL of putting your clothes away, doing laundry, etc. If not, that could make it slightly more complicated, and then you would want to grade this task even further down by getting one of those stamps to label the inside of the shirt with an appropriate color. That requires a little bit more finances and a little bit more detail, but it's something that would make this activity accessible to a wide range of cognition. As I mentioned, it's very easy to just keep your extra paper around, so that way you would be able to add new clothing as you got it. A key thing to remember with this is that you want this all to happen in your natural context. This is why this is such a great activity for occupational therapists that work in the home. It allows you to see exactly what their clothes are, go through and explain to them the categories, ask them what categories they think are important, and then grade it appropriately based on the difficulty that you see them having. Do these two things go together? How do I know? Well, take them out, lay them on the bed, and then try to find them in your outfit flip book. Why, yes, they do. Both categories appear blue, which means there's no reason why those two things can't go together, and also can be worn for a job interview, holiday, or to church. Good to know. Stay tuned for future tips, tricks, and tools for the OTs in the home. I hope this was helpful.